It was a emotional game in a lot of ways for me. Being in Rock Hill for many years and raising my kids there. Looking down the court and seeing Mark, who's like a brother to me. We coached together for many years. I tried not to get sentimental throughout the course of the preparation and just focus on it's just we're getting ready for a team. But there were moments where, former players would walk in, first point guard I ever signed, first player I ever signed, Brandon Vega, and just went on and on and on. So it was an emotional game, and I have so much respect for that institution, so much respect for Mark Prosser. He's a phenomenal coach and a world-class person, and that team's really good, and they're going to make some noise in their conference. I believe they're an NCAA tournament team. So it's mirror images in a lot of ways. They value a lot of the things we value. They play with great toughness and tenacity. They challenge you on the glass. They drive the ball at you and put foul pressure on you. They play really fast, and our guys do as well. So, we played hard. I thought we defended at a really high level for the most part. Offensively, obviously, the glaring thing is that we turn the ball over too much, which is uncharacteristic of our team. We were one of the better assist-to-turnover ratio teams in the country, and obviously you have to credit Winthrop for that. I thought they did a good job defensively and deflected the ball, touched the ball, and we also made some just uncharacteristic, careless turnovers as well, and those are some things that we need to clean up.
Coach, early in the first half, Kanai seemed to really give you some great energy off the bench, comes in, gets a charge, hits a big three-point shot. Just kind of talk about his growth since the concussion to start the year.
Yeah, Kanai was really good for us now. You're right. He was a big spark. That was a huge charge, big three made. That you could hear the gasp in the Yum Center when he kind of went up on the break and got fouled and looked like he was going to, have an ESPN highlight. Proud of him. He works really hard. He's the youngest guy on a really old team. He's got an old soul about him, as I say all the time. Mature, wants to be really good, extremely coachable, and having that approach behind the scenes results in a really good performance.
Pat, in the back over here. On the defensive end of the floor, what stood out to you about your guys to guard like they did tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the defensive numbers, they shot, 31% for the game and 20% from three. I mean, those are really good numbers. We had 5 or 6 things that we really locked in on in scouting, and I thought our guys carried that out. I usually just say numbers, but I'll say his name because he means a lot to me. Kelton Talford, who I recruited and coached at Winthrop, and he was on a 24-2 NCAA tournament team his freshman year. He's a handful. He's a very, very, very good college basketball player, and he's going to play a long time and make a lot of money. I thought our guys did a good job on him. They are very, very good at creating fouls, especially in the first half. They only had 6 free throws. I don't think we did as good a job of defending without fouling in the second half, but the 2 main things we focused on was their transition and their rebounding and then guarding without fouling. Have to do a better job on the glass. They had too many offensive rebounds, but I thought we did a good job with their transition game, and for the most part, kept them off the free throw line.
Pat, obviously you've got a big week ahead with Atlantis coming up. Are you satisfied with where this team is now, or where do you want to see improvement as you go into that
I don't
tournament?
think any coach in the country is ever satisfied. There's always ways that you can improve. I think this team continues to grow. There's a lot of potential. There's still some things that we need to clean up, but every team in the country needs to do some things to improve. So I love our mindset of our players, and I love the growth that we've shown. And got a big test coming up over the next couple days down in the Bahamas, and we're looking forward to it. We're excited about the opportunity.
Pat, you mentioned the turnovers were kind of uncharacteristic for your team. When you have two of your, obviously you got a whole bunch of veterans on your team, but two guys in Kaysen and Terrence Edwards that had 5 at the half. What's the message to them in the locker room coming out?
You know, just what's the score? 0-0. Next play. You know, just play with poise, make the easiest play, make the simple play, you know, and then move on. Yeah, I mean, I think the turnovers was the one thing that wasn't clean, but I thought our guys played hard as heck. You know, defended their butts off. I mean, shoot, we got 43% of our misses in the second half. That's elite. That's a statistics that's indicative of playing hard and competing. As we mentioned before, there's some stuff to clean up. We'll go back and watch the tape, figure out what that is, and then turn to the next thing.
I mean, sometimes a less mature team will get in a game like this that's just like pulling teeth sometimes, and they'll get frustrated in the second half. Calls don't go, whatever. It did not look like your guys did that. They just stayed with it, embraced the type of game it was going to be. How much is that encouraging from a team with like you said, all these veterans?
That's a mature mindset team that, you know, you just got to move on to the next play, right? Whether it's you get a call, it doesn't go your way, you have a couple turnovers. It's about how you respond. It's the next thing. So our guys, for the most part, have that mindset.
Did you learn any more about Corin's timetable for coming back from his injury over the past couple days?
It's still day to day.
Coach, Terrence seemed to struggle a little bit tonight offensively. For him, it seemed like he was maybe a little bit indecisive with the ball. Do you what's the key to unlocking a little bit more consistency from him offensively?
You said he looked like he was what again?
A little indecisive, you know, just kind of, I don't know, just passive or.
No, he's been really good for us. You know, I don't think he looked indecisive. You know, he did a lot of things. He had a huge steal in a huge moment. I do know that. And that really ignited a big run that we had. So, very good player, great leader for us. And, you know, maybe he didn't have his best game. I don't know. But, you know, I don't think he looked indecisive. I think, you know, he's a very, very confident player and a very effective player. And, you know, he'll be a stud in the next game.
Pat, you've talked about Javon before, kind of having that dog in him, for lack of a better phrase. It felt like this game was one where he was made to kind of have an impact with the glass and attacking the basket. Is that what you saw out of him in this one?
He's tough as nails, man. He's a warrior. He's gritty. He's tough. But our guys played gritty overall as a team. James Scott had 5 blocks. Obviously, Javon had 13 rebounds. We got 43% of our misses in the second half. But Javon's a big tone setter for us in terms of, you know, just who he is as a player, and his grit, his toughness, and played his butt off tonight.
That actually kind of building off of that, Hadley found a lot of his success tonight just playing with his back to the basket instead of like maybe putting all of his offensive game like just cutting to the basket. Is that an aspect of his game that you want to see kind of explored more often moving forward?
I think Javon's a versatile player. You know, he can score inside. You know, he can shoot the ball. He's a very reliable playmaker and passer. He's just like, what do you call it? He's just like Old Faithful, man. It's like Ironsides. You just know what the crap you're going to get from Javon Hadley every single day and every single game. So, blue collar, you know, that's just the way he plays. But, you know, you mentioned scoring close to the basket. I mean, he's very good at exploiting mismatches and scoring close to the basket. But he could take big defenders out on the floor and drive them as well. Just a really solid player.
You mentioned, you know, not being satisfied with your team at this point. Like most are. I'm just curious, like, how far do you think this team has come from your guys' trip to the Bahamas over the summer?
I think we've come a long way. What ways do you think? I mean, I see growth every single day. understanding of our system, grasping of our system. I mean, all these guys come from parts all over the place, from different programs, and they have different terminology. And because basketball is a universal language, but everybody calls something different. And I think now they're sort of getting in the groove where they really know conceptually and from a terminology standpoint exactly what we do and what we call. We have most of our set play package in, all of our defensive principles in terms of the different ways we guard the pick and roll. I mean, like we're at this point an advanced team. You know, it's not, we're still trying to knock the rust off and implement things. Guys have a very firm understanding as to what we do and why we do it.
Scott's obviously had a couple of really good games back to back after not even getting a shot up against Tennessee. Was there anything that he worked on in that time off?
I mean, James works on everything. Like he's one of the most, what do you call it, maniacal, diligent, committed basketball players that you'll ever see. You know, it's almost to the point where you have to make the kid leave the gym because it gets to the point where it's diminishing returns so much. That's how consumed and committed he is to basketball. So I finally convinced him to really rely on film as well. Like you can get your reps sometimes in watching film, and then you can't give them enough. We're getting ready for the next opponent. He already wants all the personnel clips of all the teams we're going to play. So when you work that way, and you have the talent, the God-given talent that he has, it's a no-brainer that he's going to go like this. And he's still a really young player. He's one of the youngest players in Division I basketball last year. 19 years old, I think, as a sophomore. Is that what he is? Just turned 19. And so he's just a lot like Jabon. You just know what you're going to get all the time. Kid that has an unbelievable understanding of what his role is, what he's supposed to do. When he screws something up, he's so conscientious about cleaning it up. His upside's really big.
Pat, 4 games is a bit of a small sample size, but in that time, the toughness and physicality on both ends of the floor, especially like around the rim, kind of has some ebb and flow to it, not super consistent. What's something you guys have to do moving forward in order to get a little bit more consistent in that department?
I mean, that's your opinion. I think we're pretty freaking gritty at the rim. James had 5 blocks. We're making hard plays on the ball. Like we call it beating stuff up at the rim. We take a bunch of charges tonight. Kenai Roos, Rain Smith took 2. You know, I mean, you might not think it's consistent, but I think our guys are playing their butts off defensively.
Thank you.